Hi, everyone. I'm Tish from Dish with Tish, Straight Talk TV. I am actually exhausted because today was a lot to take in. But I wanted to, it was already on my heart. Let me see, I don't know, I don't know how to, I guess I'll just share it. Okay, forgive me for that. Um, but there was it was already on my heart when I woke up this morning that I needed to go live, and God put on my heart to talk about family relationships. So my name is relationship consultant. I want to see us as a people have better relationships with one another. And what was on my heart today was to come live with you guys and to discuss the family dynamic, because I believe in order to have a healthy relationship, you have to have a healthy you, and you have to have a healthy relationship with those closest to you, right? And so there were some things that we all know that Madam Kamala Harris was sworn in today. And black women, I have on my pearls now, black women all over the country and maybe even the world decided that we were going to wear pearls in pride of what was happening, what was taking place. And it turned out, I ended up seeing a comment that was so disheartening. But I have to give props to a sister friend of mine who her response to it was spot on. Like, we are all riding high and with so much pride. And the comment came from a black man toward Kamala. And what he said is he was going to hold her or her heels to the fire. And that's his choice, right? But for me, never have I seen a post by anyone saying who they was going to hold to the fire. The closest I came to that was Tavis Smiley, who wrote a book about it. But I had not seen that kind of language from us about us. And it brought me back to what are we. There's a whole segment that you're going to get on YouTube. If you're subscribed to YouTube, you're going to get a whole segment on the theory that's out there, black women ruining their boys. I'm doing a whole thing on that. So that will be uploaded shortly. But what's your relationship like with your mother and your father? And I'm not going to point fingers at nobody. Again, I don't want any bashing going on my channel. But what I will say is this. For me personally, I just lost my mother. And it still hurts. I had to go off live earlier because there was a trigger. Okay? But my mother and I didn't always have a good relationship. And I had to work through those dynamics, and I had to come to an understanding that I can't change another person. I can only change how I interact with that person, right? But this comment today made me think on something a little deeper, in that what we're exposing our children to oftentimes spills out of them when they become adults. And oftentimes that what we're spilling into our children, a lot of times it can be unintentional conversations they're hearing. If a boy witnesses his mom cheating on dad, right? That boy will grow up and have a distrust for women. He may not even know it. It would just be innate in him. If a boy is denied the opportunity to see his dad, come on, y'all know I'm talking real, right? If a boy is denied an opportunity to see his dad, that boy will likely grow up and have resentment toward the mom or the dad, depending on what story he was told, what he was exposed to, and the type of life that he lived. Conversely, if women don't have dad around and they don't have anybody pouring into them, telling them that they're beautiful and they're loved and they're deserving and they only deserve the best, and dating them and showing them how they should be treated, then where are they going to learn it? A young girl who has issues with not receiving love from daddy becomes prey to a predator. She's not going to get a man that prays, Prays, on or with her. She's going to get a man that Preys, on or with her. I tell people all the time, ask yourself this. If you have a tumultuous relationship with your parent, if you still have a parent alive, then you're blessed. I myself am officially orphaned. I lost my mother and my father. I don't have any more parents here with me. No one's going to love you like your parents, supposedly, right? Your parents are supposed to be your first loves. So, can I offer this as some healing for someone, particularly my ladies? But, gents, this is for you too. If you have a tumultuous relationship with your mother, and part of that relationship is because your mother wasn't or couldn't be the mother that you wanted or needed, I encourage you to forgive her. I encourage you to forgive her, forgive yourself. I don't like that. Forgive her, forgive yourself, and try to start anew. My mother was the type of person that for years she didn't want to talk about it. She didn't want to hear what I didn't like or what I needed her to be or where I felt she felt short. And in essence, that could be deemed as disrespectful, right? Because no parent has it all together. Every child will probably say their parent fell short in some area. I need some of my Fenty gloss, y'all. Fenty not paying me, but they got the best glosses around. Um, every child will probably grow up saying that they wish that their parent would have done things a different way, right? When they say that there's no handbook to parenting, that's kind of what they're talking about. But some of us do a real doozy on their children up here where this is so guarded. If you guard your heart to protect yourself from hurt, you're also guarding yourself from loving. And I just want to speak on that mother's thing because it was nagging at me so much. But I have to I'm going to loop back to the mother's thing. Let me say that. I'm going to loop back to the mother's thing, but I need to say this about that comment that I saw. The comment of the black man saying that he was going to hold Kamala to her heel to the fire was hurtful. It was hurtful because black women oftentimes voice how we feel our brothers don't support us enough. And so today, when we're riding high on her high, for him to have said that, it felt like here we are being scrutinized to the most finite point of scrutinization, right? On the flip side, I'm sure a lot of brothers feel the same. So, what needs to happen? We need to talk solutions. That brother was called out and told that this was hurtful. I haven't gone back to see the comments. I'm hopeful he took that in and maybe did a self assessment on why he felt like he needed to do that. Because I too said, come on, do us good, sis. I want to see her do well. I want her to help me understand why she went against her own bill for $2,000 for each family household member. She went against her own bill. So I said I want her to help me understand that. So I too I want accountability, but today just seemed insensitive. Okay, back to the ladies with the mothers. For years, I cried. I called my auntie. I complained to my friends that my mom she was different. My aunt said, just tell your friends your mom's eclectic. I struggled with how my mom was because I didn't just accept her for who she was. Right? And there was a maturity that had to happen in me. And it came from an older person that I respect. And she said to me, did you grow up under a bridge? What do you mean? Were you homeless? No, I wasn't. Yeah, okay, you may have done without. For those that don't know, I come from humble beginnings. I'm very transparent about that. Any and everything that I have, I bust my butt for. No one gave me anything. And my husband was not my rescuer. We upgraded one another. Let's be clear about that. He didn't find me in the gutter. Okay? I went to an HBCU, educated myself, had no children, had never been married when I met my husband. We planned to marry, we planned to have our child. That was my vision. If I'm not married, I'm not going to have a child. But this is not about that. This is about the maturity that had to happen in me where I did not give up. But guess who was in control? God. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed some more. And I said, God, please give me a relationship with my mother. And the way God chose to do it, see, we ask for things to happen, but we don't have governance over how God moves. He does it in His time and He does it in His way. I pray this blesses somebody today. God told me He was going to make me be transparent. I'm like, I prayed, and I prayed. It took for my mom to almost lose her life for me to be the only child she had that stepped up and said, devil, not today. I didn't get a chance to have a relationship with my mother. You don't get to do this. You don't get to take her now. The devil was trying to take my mom. That wasn't God. The doctors told me maybe 10 times in 2 minutes, she can go home and die. We can put her in hospice and die. We can give her some medicine and die. And my mom said to me, baby, I'm scared. And for the first time, probably ever, I was at a loss for words. And I said, Mommy, I know. Don't be scared. I'm going to do what I know how to do, and that's go home and pray. I will see you tomorrow. I walked out of that hospital. I prayed. I arched my back and said, I'm going to get my mom out of that hospital and to health. That was in 2012. So from 2012 to 2020, the end of 2020, I got to see my mother celebrate her 80th birthday. I got to see her on Zoom. Wasn't ideal, but I got to see her with a tiara on, with the Stevie Wonder happy birthday to you, with balloons. They hooked her up. They love my mom. I got to see her 80th birthday. God gave me 8 more years to build a relationship with my mother. You know what God also did? He actually put me in position that when I did have my child, I wouldn't trust my child with anyone but my mother. So He put me in position where my husband and I could begin to have date night because my mom would babysit. This was all God's plan to build the relationship. It didn't look how I thought it was going to look, y'all. We have to stop trying to tell God how to do His thing. This is for my believers. If you're not a believer, if you're not a Christian, you are welcome here. But if you feel negative about what I'm saying, you are welcome to leave too. Because I'm a Christian. I believe in prayer and I pray to God. I read the Holy Bible. I believe in the Jesus with the hair like wool. If you are going to heal, you have to first start with you and knowing that you can't change the other person. You can only change how you interact with that person. So I had to begin to control my emotions, my triggers. I was still triggered from things from childhood that I should have let go. Remember before when I said people look for a whole person? I want a whole person and another whole person. We come together and we both whole. We all broken, y'all. We all broken in some sort of way. We got some healing to do, but we have to do the self-reflection so we can heal. I want to see women build relationships with their mothers while they're still alive. It hurts that my mom is not here on this side of glory with me anymore. But I have peace that God gave me an opportunity to honor my mother. It didn't come how I thought it was going to come. It didn't. What's your relationship like with your siblings? I have a sibling that don't rock with me. I have one left. God took my brother and my mother during this pandemic. My mother died of a broken heart, if you ask me. She literally told us that my brother was her favorite. Parents, don't try that at home. Never tell your kids that you have a favorite. You might have to love them differently. You might love them differently, but you shouldn't have a favorite. Right? But she had her reasons. And as I got older, I began to understand them. And you know what I started to do? I started to give my mom grace. And then she said that that's all she ever wanted. She always felt like we chose dad over her when they split. When my opinion is, listen, the way I lived my life, I was about that fight life. You talk about my mom, I was fighting. You look at me wrong, I was fighting. You say something smart, I was fighting. I had anger issues. But you weren't going to talk about my mom or my dad. Period. You just weren't going to do it. And so I told both my parents, it's not cool. You can't talk about mommy. You can't talk about daddy. Not around me. Do that somewhere else. It's not okay. I ain't asked to come here. Y'all was good with each other when y'all was doing the do. Y'all work that out with yourselves. Don't put that on us. But see, I was that smart mouth child that I was able to put the words together to say that. Some children are feeling it and don't know how to say it. So let me tell you, parents, you could be damaging your child. Parents, you have to start parenting your children. That's the other thing that God put on my heart to talk about today. There are too many young folks out in the street doing the worst, taking life. You rob somebody and you still shoot them. That's a cold heart. That's a person that doesn't value themselves. And the only person that doesn't value themselves is a person that wasn't taught to do so. That means the parent has failed. I've heard women say, I'll call my son. He'll turn this place out. He'll shoot this place up, this, that, and the other. What kind of woman would want her son to come shoot up a place and risk going to jail and losing his life, or worse, getting killed? What kind of mother would do that? Well, as I was sharing this story with someone else, she said, I just called my son for the same thing. That's a thing. So you know your son is about that life, and you would call him. He would be the last person I call. Me, who I am now. But I had to grow to this. Because I was once told, if I put my hands on you like you put your hands on me, you be calling people. And I would, because I know people that's about that life. But at this point in my life, when you know better, you do better. I would not want any man that I love going to jail over a verbal exchange that I'm having with another male, female, or whomever. I will walk away. I ain't even fighting. I ain't looking to fight. I walk away. For those of us who have gotten to a point where we have children, but we're not in a relationship, can I offer you this? If you have teens, it's your responsibility. Let me rewind. At 2 years old, if your child is talking slick, disrespectful, sassy, nip that then. Nip it. Set boundaries. You know, one of the things I didn't like about my mom is that she didn't give me boundaries. I lived life how I wanted to. So that means some of my childhood was gone because I was doing grown things when I was young. I wish I had someone make me enjoy my childhood. Because you don't get to go back. Once you're an adult, you're an adult. Some of you parents want to parent hands off. Oh, let them. Oh, let them. They're kids. You got adults that aren't thinking right. We can't let our girls get bit by the boy bug drug at 13, 14 years old. That's not going to lead to nothing productive with their lives. There are 50 and 60-year-old women that are still chasing the high of the boy bug drug. So yes, you got to get in their business. Yes, you need to take the electronics sometime. Yes, you need to give them a deadline for being on the electronics. Don't give them no phone, no tablet, no iPad, no what she got, MacBook. No, don't give them no devices and leave them to themselves all day, every day, all night. You don't know what they doing, who they doing it with, who they talking to. You cannot do that. You should not be doing that in 2021. It's too much going on. There have been times where I've taken my daughter's phone and gone through it. I could tell if she's having like issues with certain girls. I could tell if somebody's talking slick in her DMs on Instagram. And I can have conversations with her that will matter when she's 25. We have a rule. Is it going to matter when she's 25, 21, 25? If it's going to matter, then we on it. If it's not, she'll even say, Mommy, is it going to matter when I'm 25? If you got sons and you know they in the streets, you don't have no curfew for them. They come and go as they please. They got the nicest gear but no job. You know what's going on, Mom. It's not okay to turn a blind eye. If my child took a life recklessly and it wasn't to protect their own, I am turning my child in. Why? Because they have something wrong when they will do it again. Now that's tough love. That's hard. And I'm actually saying that now because I'm not in that situation. But that's how I feel, right? Let's just keep it real. But why not get to your kids before that happens? If you start early, you don't have as much course correcting to do when they become 15 and 16. You might have a little smart mouth here and there, but you should know where they at and what they doing because they doing it with you. You should know who their friends are and meet their parents. See what kind of people they are. It is our responsibility to prepare them to stand on their own in the world as productive citizens in society. Productive. If they're not going to school, if they're not doing what you're telling them to do, if they talking slick, if they talking slick to you, understand they're likely disrespectful to teachers and other people and disrupting in class too. If they go, you are doing them a disservice being their friend, still paying that cell phone bill, still allowing them to go in the refrigerator and eat and come and go as they please. I will be taking keys. You will have no cell phone, no access if you can't follow the rules of my house. When you grown, you grown. And you got to do that out there. And then I just have to pray for you from afar. But you're not going to be under my roof and potentially bring crazy to my house. You're not going to do that. Thank you for joining. You're not going to do that. We cannot stop the violence that's going on across this country until we start recognizing that we ourselves are hurt and we are hurting our children because of that hurt. Hurt people is not just cliche. A mother who was bit by the boy bug drug early is probably still chasing that drug, that high. You know how they say when you, back in the crack era, if you try crack that first time, you get this high was so incredible that you're going to chase after that high. You're going to just keep chasing after that high. Well, when you get bit by the boy bug drug is what I call it. That's how I break it down to my team. When you get bit too early, you're distracted from everything in life. Everything. Yes, it's okay to like boys. It's okay to like girls. But stay focused. And it's our job as parents to make sure they focus. We need to keep them in activities. We need to show up at the activities. I have played every sport there was and didn't have anyone in the stands cheering me on at one point in my life. I know what that feels like. So I'm at every practice and every game. I'm there. My daughter is known for saying, I can't get in any trouble. I'm always with my parents. And when she does hang out with a friend, trust and believe I know the mom and my husband knows the dad. We dropping off and picking up, or we staying there while they do whatever. Because that's the world we live in now. I am not my daughter's friend first. I will be friendly with her. But I tell her all the time, I trade in my friend card to be your parent any day of the week. Ask yourself what your deepest hurt is, and could you potentially be putting it on your child? A woman bit by the boy bug drug that has a baby early is probably extremely stressed. She's probably desiring to that high, that love again. And it's a possibility that she could be shifting her focus from the child to looking for that love. Again, now she's prey with the E, because there are people that go after women with children because they want to get at the children because they are sick. Talking bad about the child's father in front of the child kills their self-esteem. It makes them feel like, why do I have a loser for a father? That's not for you to do. If their dad is a loser, they will figure it out. If their mom is a loser, they will figure it out. You don't ever have to say anything negative about them. Can we please try to show a little more grace for one another? Brothers, if you cheated on your baby mom, your child's mother, I hate baby mama. If you cheated on your child's mother and you hurt her to her core, why not acknowledge that and apologize? No matter how many years ago it was, it's still your child's mother. Apologize. See, some of these women that are crazy, some of the brothers make them crazy. I give you my everything. And then you go give your everything to somebody else. You break up with me, a week later you marry, a month later you marry. What do you think that does to a woman's heart? There are so many layers. I am parenting in a 2-parent household with one child, and it's still tough. I can't fathom the single mother parenting multiple children, sometimes with multiple fathers. It is my assignment to help the next young lady coming behind them to not have a baby with a dude that's not invested in you. You don't have a full name. You don't have a title. We just kicking it. We taking it as it is. We not doing nothing. He hasn't claimed you or anything. Hold on to your loins. Because guess what? Having a baby with a dude that you don't hardly know, or he hasn't invested in you, he hasn't even called you his lady, is a recipe for disaster. There goes the resentment. There goes the hurt. There goes the, I'm not letting my child go with him. Why? Because she doesn't know him. When I met my husband, I said, why is it that I haven't met your son and we've been together 6 months? He said, why is it that I flew you across the country to meet my mother and yours lives near you 5 minutes, but I haven't met her yet? You know what that told me? It told me the kind of man he was. There's no way that I could have a child with someone who intentionally didn't want anything to do with his own. There's no way I could do that. That's not claiming his own. That's not attempting to care for his own. I can't do that. I couldn't do. My child wouldn't be here and he wouldn't be my husband. Ladies, if you have children and you meet a new guy, do not have him around your child. Do not have him around your child until y'all talking marriage. I have a girlfriend that I use as a gauge. She dated, she had people over, do her thing. They had to be gone before her daughter woke up. Y'all feel what I'm saying here? We are hurting our kids, and our kids are going out here hurting other people. No one can imagine the void a child must feel for a to not know who their parent is, to have never seen their father, to wish one day their father would come. I can't fathom that. But day after day, ladies are in a situation where that's their reality. And we can't put that all on the men. Because it's our bodies too. We got to step up and say, I'm not having no baby with no dude that ain't marrying me. I'm not even going to tell myself that I don't want to be married because that's the language he using. If I want to be married, I'm going to say, I want to be married. I'm a wife already. I just ain't find him yet. He just ain't find me yet because I'm not even looking for him. He got to find me. I'm old school. What's your relationship like with your family? There was a couple of things that I wrote down because these Zoom calls and all. Um, I don't know if I said congratulations to Kamala, but I wanted to make sure I did that. Um, I told y'all I wasn't a model child. I gave my mom a lot of gray hairs. But let's just be real. I acted out because I didn't feel supported in the way that I felt or I needed to be supported. And so I don't say I'm only going to give what I was given. I wasn't supported, so I'm not going to support my child. No, I overly support my child now. It's time to break generational curses. If you don't know, if you've never had dad around and you never had mom around, just give the love to the child that you wish you had. Start there. It may seem smothering to the child. My mother was not mushy. My mom was rough and tough, will cuss you out, bust you in your mouth. My mom was hood. You would never know that in how I parent my child. Because we say, I love you a million times a day. We hug and kiss a million times a day. It seems unrealistic for some people in their household, but my husband and I both believed in pouring into our child in that way. We tried to set her up for success. If she goes out in the world and she fails, that's on her because we've given her everything she needs. Now, she might need a therapist because there's so many things that her mom won't let her do during this dang going pandemic. Well, my friends are doing it. I don't have nothing to do with what your friends doing. I'm not raising them. But we are not playing with it because we have had loved ones taken away from it. Another thing, ladies, our children are watching. And I say ladies because we are often the ones left responsible for our children. They're watching. So when you're getting dressed to go out, they're watching. Watch what you put on. If you want to raise a classy child, a classy young lady, guard their gateways. Watch what they see and hear. My daughter and I had a discussion the other day about the lyrics to songs. And she has songs that she liked that she put on her little Instagram or whatever, but they don't match up. No. So then I shared with her that I have my ratchet music that I listen to. I have times where I like ratchet music. I just don't listen to it around her. And I wouldn't attach it to myself in an image. I had to learn that. There was another part to that story, but y'all don't need all that. Y'all don't need all my business. Moral of this story, understand you can't change people. You can only change yourself. If you still have time on earth with your loved one, stop expecting them to be who you want them to be. Start accepting them for who they are. My mom was 80 years old. My husband helped me understand that she wasn't changing and she was going out just like that. So I could either take it or leave it. And I'm so thankful for his wisdom in helping me to see that. I have a cousin that said, life happened to your mom. Life happened to my mom. The things my mom experienced, the average person would have bit a bullet or jumped in front of a train. My mom took the devil's hits on the chin and stood strong. That's the DNA I come from. That's what I want to see us getting back to. We don't have a whole lot of grandmoms like that pouring into our communities anymore. Someone has to stand up and call a spade and say, ladies, you can't go out dressing trashy and then tell your little girl to not be a thought. You can't be popping and dropping and not expect your daughter to pop and drop. See, any popping and dropping that I did, my daughter didn't see it because that's not what I want her to represent. I saw a young lady. She had on a thong and a fishnet over top of it. She had children. She was in a public establishment. She wasn't at a strip club working. She was in a public establishment. That woman is hurting. When you have to strip yourself down to barely just about naked, you're saying, somebody please see me. And sis, I'm telling you, God sees you. You don't have to go that far. You can have on a turtleneck and sweats, and he can still approach you. I want to see us get back to class. I want to see us get back to grace. I am nobody's saint. I do call myself a saint, a sinner that falls down and get back up. I'm saved by God's grace, walking in my deliverance every day, trying to be better than yesterday. The only person I compete with is me yesterday. But I want y'all to know he's not finished with me. He's not finished with me. So don't ever feel that because my religion is my religion, or and I don't even like religion. My spiritual walk is my spiritual walk. That don't have to be your spiritual walk. But chew the meat, spit the bones. There's a lot of knowledge out here on the social media. There's a lot of people that have knowledge and valid truths in their messaging. They just may deliver them differently. Some people may cuss, some people may yell, some people dress crazy, some people use comedy. Chew the meat, spit the bones. Learn something. And understand that our young folks are hurting. Start with those that you know. Don't walk up to no random young boy and start telling him about himself, what he need to do. You might get yourself hurt. But if you a street dude, you might end up saving his life. See, my husband will approach that young boy and say, young man, why you not in school? He in a gas station pumping gas or whatever. My husband will approach him and pour into him. Give him a card. Say, hit me up if you need work. The little shorties used to come and sweep outside our house or do whatever. If you ever need help and you're in distress, come knock on our door. They knew somebody in a community cared. We got to start showing that we care. These kids, these young boys, they learning that people care about them more in the streets than they do at home. When I met my husband, all of my family was outside of my bloodline. He didn't understand that. There was so much dysfunction that my friends were my family. But thank God for the spirit of discernment and the friends that I picked. I picked friends that had me going to church. I picked friends that we went out and partied together too. I picked friends that were college educated, or we went to college. A saving grace. If I didn't go to college, I'm no different. College saved me. My HBCU saved me, changed my trajectory, gave me a chance. Give these young folks a chance. Take your ass to parent-teacher night. Get to know your child's teachers. Let them know your child is cared for. If they call you and say your child is acting up, dig in your child's behind. Don't you dare leave that to the teacher, as their responsibility. It's not their responsibility. It's yours. All of this we see in the streets, it starts at home. And these people are in your house. Some of you ladies are laying next to killers and you know it. Either you like a bad boy, you scared to leave him, or you just turning a blind eye. You know it. You know it. Stop enabling. I'm tired of hearing little kids getting killed in the crossfire. Women getting killed because they're getting robbed. Women getting snatched off the street and raped and forced to traffic. Come on now. Y'all see what happened at the Capitol? All this killing we doing of each other, we should be guarding each other. If you got a gun, you licensed to carry a firearm, or you want to have a gun, get a license. And use it to protect your family, not to hurt your brother and sister or people that look like you. Just get back to family, y'all. Start eating dinner together. Get into schools. Check in with your kids. Have conversations that are uncomfortable. Let them know you love them and you care. Set boundaries. Hold them to it. Give them chores. We got to go old school, y'all. But I'm done. I'm zoomed out. I'm inaugurated out. I want to just go get in the arms of my husband and give thanks for another day. I pray that something I said touches someone. I pray that you subscribe or follow. I pray that you go click on that bio and click on that YouTube channel and subscribe. Because the lesson I'm going to give, or the talk I'm going to have about our black women hurting their boys. I don't even have a boy that I was responsible for raising, and I said ouch. We have to learn to say ouch and stop taking who she thinks she is, or who he think he is. Oh, I know that was written by women. We need to stop tearing each other down in these Facebook groups. Grace. Have a little grace. Don't pop off immediately when somebody does something. Just chill. You never know what they going through. I lost 7 loved ones since May. My heart hurts. I can cry at the drop of a dime. Anything can be a trigger. Imagine people who lost loved ones to crime. Just snuffed out. You robbed them and still killed them. You shot them for nothing. Little babies playing, getting shot. Caught up in uncle and auntie's bullcrap. We gotta do better, y'all. I'm just doing my small little part. I feel like I'm on assignment. And I am naming this message. Let's start. It all starts at home. Let's start at home. I ain't even think of a name yet. We gotta start at home. No more babies by dudes you don't know, ladies. And fellas, if you ain't trying to be a father and be around, don't you dare just try to smash the vulnerable and then walk away, not caring about if she gets pregnant or not. Because you are a part of the problem, and that will come back on you. You got to answer for that at some point. Be kind to one another. You never know what they're going through. Thank you for taking the time out to listen. Share the video. Follow. When you know better, you do better. Seek understanding. Seek knowledge. Get in tune with yourself. Get a therapist if you need to. We all suffer in PTSD in some sort of way. Even the kids may need therapy. All right, I'm done. God bless and keep you. Create a wonderful evening. Peace, love, and light. Now I gotta figure out how to stop this thing.